Hello, I'm Chris Williams from Read Comics They're Bad For You, the name of my YouTube channel. Or if you're watching this on Library when I finally have it up and running, thank you for subscribing. Or if you're watching this on BitChute, the name of my BitChute channel is Comic Freak. We're going to be reading, did Sebastian Stan actually criticize Captain America's ending, as well as John Boyega, who's basically come out and sided with Sebastian Stan. Both actors have had problems with Disney and how their characters were treated in the respective movie franchises, so we'll learn all about that as we read this article. Last year, Marvel fans worldwide said goodbye to Chris Evans' big screen incarnation of Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, as the final sequence of Avengers Endgame saw the legendary hero take a trip back in time so that he could live out his years with the love of his life, Hayley Atwell's Peggy Carter. Many fans felt this was a wonderful farewell to the character, providing him with a happy ending and a satisfying conclusion. Those positive feelings are evidently not universal, however, as recently highlighted by Marvel star Sebastian Stan, who plays Steve Rogers' best friend sidekick Bucky Barnes. The negative take on the final scenes of Avengers Endgame seemed to suggest that by going back in time to be with Peggy, Captain America not only betrays his own personal morals, but also a promise that the star-spangled hero made to his buddy several times throughout his life, together until the end of the line. This is the gist of the tweet that Sebastian Stan recently highlighted on his own personal Instagram account, saying he was not happy with the way Captain America left his best friend in the future while he went off to live his own personal best version of his life in the past with his lady love, Peggy Carter, and live happily ever after in the past, only seeing him again as an old man as Steve Rogers has become. This has gone viral online, and the fans have been tweeting this out all day, including this tweet here from @the_Nina, together until the end of the line, or until bad, inconsistent, out-of-character writing turns Steve Rogers into his own antithesis. Shouldn't it be together until the end of the lay now? You can disregard these shippers all you want, I pretty much do all the time. The fact that Sebastian Stan's character at the end of Endgame is not given the shield by Captain America, and now the sidekick of the Falcon, it's not bad, but it's actually not all that good since he actually deserves the shield more in my opinion. As you can see, the only editorial content provided by Sebastian Stan on the screenshot is a blushing emoji. The suggestion seems to be, whoops, maybe we didn't think about that, and that certainly seems to be the perception at large. The post wound up getting Stan's name trending on Twitter, partially because the Marvel actor's social media post was amplified by Star Wars star John Boyega, who isn't really a stranger when it comes to questioning creative choices in his own movies. Yeah, this is where Boyega comes in. He's really angry that his character got shortchanged in Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, basically having no real good lines and just basically being, well, just out there. They could have hired a scarecrow and it would have been as good as what John Boyega had in Episode 9. I mean, in the first movie of the Disney trilogy, people were shipping his character and Rey together pretty heavily back then. But then came the Reylo shippers, and that pretty much tells you all you need to know. Here's a tweet from John Boyega. "Welcome, Mr. Stan. Welcome." He has the Emperor doing his cackling laugh. Clownfish TV said that, John Boyega wants to become the new Sith Lord of the fandom menace. So John Boyega is reaching out to Sebastian Stan to, stand up with him against Disney. I mean, yes, they have lucrative careers at Disney, but, Sebastian Stan does. John Boyega's pretty much left Disney behind. So he's pretty much going to voice his opinion and his displeasure at what happened to his character. This naturally raises a central debate. Did Steve Rogers betray his morals and friendship to Bucky by going back in time? I personally argue that the answer is no, but it's an interesting conflict to piece out. One important argument not taken into consideration in what's been covered above is the interaction that is featured between Captain America and Bucky right before the former goes on his time travel adventure. Hulk and Falcon believe that Steve is only going to be leaving for a moment, returning the Infinity Stones to their proper places, and then coming back. But when you rewatch this scene, Bucky seems to know something that nobody else does. In addition to the two men sharing the same exchange they had before Bucky went off to war, the man formerly known as the Winter Soldier tells Steve that he is going to miss him. I know I never liked this development in Avengers Endgame, mainly because it breaks the internal logic of the movie itself. The implication is that Bucky knows that Steve isn't going to immediately come back as his young self anyway, which suggests that he knew what his best friend was going to do and accepts it. This is only further enforced by the nod of approval that Bucky gives to Falcon as he approaches Old Man Steve on the beach, acting as though he knew how things was going to play out. That hardly makes what Cap does a betrayal, either to his end-of-the-line friend or his ethics. If you really want to pick a bone with Captain America's actions at the end of Avengers Endgame, the much more significant thing to target is the understanding of his life, parallel to Bucky's through the 20th century. He can't do anything about it because he can't screw with time, but Steve presumably lives his life through the 1950s, 1960s, 1970s, etc., knowing that his best friend is being used as a brainwashed tool for Hydra, assassinating key public figures, including Tony Stark's parents. It's funny how this article doesn't understand how time travel works in Marvel. Really though, that's just a small piece of a horrible moral puzzle, as you also have to consider things like Captain America knows that 9/11 is going to happen and can't do anything to stop it. What's your take on this? Did Captain America betray Bucky by deciding to live out his life with Peggy, or was he justified in his actions? As I said, none of these writers, nor the people who even made Avengers Endgame, understand how time travel works in Marvel. When you time travel in Marvel Comics, you don't actually time travel. When you go back to the past, you create an alternate timeline that basically spawns its own universe. As in the movie itself, it explained it, that it just splits off as soon as you time travel to the past. So if you go to that past, you would only live out your life in that past's future. It wouldn't connect back to the original timeline you left. In fact, it would explain why Steve Rogers had his shield back. If he was a Captain America of another universe who'd already traveled back to the past of that universe, he might still have his shield with him. Remember when Captain America was fighting Thanos? Thanos was able to destroy his shield with that big weapon he had. Yet Captain America had his shield back. It would explain everything if that was the Captain America from another universe who traveled into the past of that universe and lived out his life there with Peggy Carter. But no, Captain America somehow went to the past of his own universe, even though the internal logic of the movie said he couldn't, and somehow fixed his shield of that incredibly rare vibranium metal that is only in Wakanda, and he somehow then Steve Rogers' way throughout the years of the 20th century, not doing anything to stop 9/11 or any wars that were coming up. But he also left his best friend to remain a weapon of the Russians, assassinating people, including Tony Stark's parents. Of course, that's what Captain America would do. He would just let people die. But if this was an alternate universe Captain America, he could have also changed the past, because to him, this would have been another universe, and if he changed the past here, it doesn't mean that it necessarily would have changed anything with Thanos attacking, but he could have prevented 9/11, and there wouldn't have been any problems with that. He could have altered the timeline, and we might be living in a better future. You could argue that it would just cause chaos and unknown factors, but you gotta understand is that this would still be an alternate universe that Captain America's in. It wouldn't affect him in any way. Steve Rogers could have maybe worked out a way to prevent a bunch of tragedies from happening, but still be able to fight Thanos at the end of Avengers Endgame without it disrupting the timeline or leading to Thanos winning. But no, this is how Disney wanted to end the MCU, at least this chapter of it in this particular movie. But hey, Sebastian Stan got to say his piece on what he thinks about the movie, as well as John Boyega airing his own thoughts on Disney, so good for them. If you like this video, subscribe. Make sure you're still subscribed because YouTube is going around unsubscribing people, so make sure you're still subscribed. If you're watching my videos but you're not subscribed, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Read Comics They're Bad For You. Then go over to BitChute and subscribe to my BitChute channel, Comic Freak. Hit that bell for notifications, hit that like button, and leave some comments down below. And if you could you also please share this video? Share it on Twitter, share it on Reddit, and share it on Facebook. Share it anywhere you think it'll do the most good, because YouTube is not not going around promoting their own YouTube creators anymore, so it would really help me if you could please share this video. Now listen closely. Keep checking back in all my future videos for more information on my own upcoming independent comic book, Scumdogs. I'm Chris Williams, and I'll be back again tomorrow with another video or review.